I'm Charlie, and I'm joined by Rahil, Terry, Babs in the Sofa King studio at Bigamins in Kitchener, Ontario. We're four loudmouths with more hot takes than brain cells. While we're chilling on our sofas, we'll be talking sports, talking trash, and letting our passion for everything sports drive our banter and conversations. At the end of every show, we enter a betting challenge unlike anything you've seen before, where every week, fate picks the rules, and our bankroll will probably get screwed because of it. Hell yeah, boys, I'm pumped. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming to our first show.
Thank you. I got to say the timing is perfect because we have NHL playoffs going on. We got NBA playoffs going on. Baseball's going on. And my hockey team, the Habs, are out, so I'm stress-free watching. I'm watching all the chaos, and I'm just like, yeah, everyone gets scored on. All the goalies suck. I don't know about you guys. I'm living life, man.
Yeah, baseball's not my thing, but this time of year it's nice because you can sit outside and actually watch the hockey game. I'm a big Leaf guy, so everyone knows, that can be a bit hard this time of year, but things they're looking pretty good. Helps that a guy, Montreal Canadiens legend, who's American, has come to a Toronto team and is now the reason why they're having success. So the irony of that is not lost on me, but I'm fucking ready to go.
Of course you bring that up, man. That's the first thing he brings up is Max.
He also wears number 67. Did I mention that?
Oh, so it's the Leafs here. Everything's going to happen. God.
No, it's just curse busters, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win anything.
Exactly.
And Terry, who do you typically cheer for in the NHL?
I'm an Avalanche fan, so I hate the playoffs right now. I don't want to pay attention.
It's crazy because before the NHL playoffs started, I actually had the Leafs and the Avalanche going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Florida's the answer I have, but I mean similar route. It just Rantanen is.
Yeah.
He's on his revenge tour. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, because he's got 8 goals and 6 assists in the last 3 games?
Something like that. He honestly reminds me of you break up with someone and you're like, hey, they're out of my life, they're gone. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, they're dating my best friend and I have to see them every day. This man went to Carolina, did pretty mediocre. And then Carolina's like, we're just going to send them back to Colorado's division opponent. And now that he's going to have to play them for the next, 5 to 8 years? I mean, Terry, you're not that excited about that, are you?
No, and I heard that Rantanen wanted to go to Dallas to stick it to Colorado after they didn't want to sign him. I can't blame him, but man, it hurts. Seeing him tear us apart in the third period is I don't
it's wild trading arguably your top 2, top 3 best player on your team out of your division, right? Going to Carolina and then coming back to Dallas right after, knowing you just completely fumbled the ball in that.
Within a 2-week period too. It's all right, he's gone, it sucks, but he's not in our division. We don't have to deal with him that much. And then it turns around, it's no, you're going to deal with me all year. It's why?
Yeah, Carolina's the rebound, and then Dallas is the hot new girl. But for Rantanen, it's just a big mess up on Carolina for not being able to get a line. But we all know that their owner is not the best one to have in the NHL. He's cheap. He didn't want to pay for the scouts' cell phone bills, allegedly. And then he was also involved in the Alliance of American Football, wherever he bought that thing. Right. And then that also just ended up going away. So I feel as his whatever he thinks he's trying to do in Carolina, it has had nothing positive to do for the team. Now they have that bad Leafs juju Harold Ballard had with Toronto.
Right, that's right.
Yeah. And the thing is too is with Rantanen, the thing I always thought of is people are I think it was Sakic who was we had the big 3 and we couldn't pay our 3 stars this much money because Makar's due for a raise pretty soon. Yes, I think at the end of this year.
End of this year.
And I get that and I understand that because I think a lot of people will be well, the Leafs are paying their big 4, but the difference is the big 4 on the Leafs, they haven't won a cup. Rantanen, Makar, and McKinnon won a cup. Why don't you want to pay your big 3 when your big 3 literally have won you a cup? You've had decent playoff success. I mean, Rantanen's nicknamed the Moose for a reason. I watched him game 1 and I was just dude, he's a perfect power forward. I don't know why you wouldn't pay him. I just don't get it.
That was pretty comparable to the Luka trade, from Dallas to LA, right? There was rumblings about, is Rantanen going to sign just like Marner? But then all of a sudden it was just, exited right out, right? There was really no, in terms of the relationship there, he had been there for what, now 5 or 6 years?
At least.
Something like that, yeah.
So, and then just, automatically shoved it at the door. And they were always talking about his agent saying the media was reporting that the number was 14 plus. He was saying we probably were in the ballpark of maybe 12 and then just automatically traded to Carolina, right? Yeah. So it was a pretty big shock.
Yeah, and I think it was over $700K That was the gap between the two that they were just like, no, we're moving you on. And like, I get it. Like, you need all the money you can, but the cap's going up at the end this year by a significant amount. And $700K, like that's a min-league deal. Like, move. Like, why not?
At a certain point in time, you value a player, and they probably analytics department decided how much his points were worth, and they probably stuck to a number and said, we're not going to shift from this. And I can understand, because you take that salary, maybe you could drop it by 3, then you have 3 really talented bottom 6 guys there.
Yeah.
And can you still have success because you have those giant pieces at the front end? So there's a way to make the numbers work. It just, sometimes, you get put your foot down, and then that's just it. And it might be a bad choice, but you made your stance.
And I don't mind ownership like coming in and putting their foot down and saying, you know what, there's an idea of a number that we want to play within, and this is our cap, and this is what we're doing. And that's kind of going back to like the Leafs. Like, the Leafs have never done that realistically in the last 10 years, right? Especially when you're talking about the top 4, top 5 guys. Like, you'd say Riley, there was give and take there, but you look at Marner, you look at Nylander, you look at Matthews, and hopefully, like, when you're looking at Nyes, I think there's a really good ceiling there for Nyes on his next contract, because he's an RFA this summer. But I can respect an ownership actually putting their foot down.
Nyes is going to get fucking offer sheeted. Like, I already know it is. It's going to be a shit show. With the cap going up, that actually makes the offer sheet opportunity so much higher for teams. And with that little shit show you had between St. Louis and Edmonton, like the whole like, hey, we're not going to be the ones to do that. That's kind of that bad juju's kind of gone. Like the whole like unwritten rule of not doing that to teams, it's out the window. I think you're going to see teams, and specifically the Toronto Maple Leafs, get screwed, because Matthew Nyes is like that typical power forward that teams want. That's very hard to draft because it's risky to draft the power forward. But the irony of it is Rahil was potentially maybe saying there's a chance that the NHL draft lottery is rigged. What the fuck are you talking about?
I wasn't saying it's rigged. I saw people talking about it being rigged. You watched it live. I didn't actually watch it live. You watched it live. Like, first off, I'm just going to say, was anyone else confused watching that?
So confused.
I was like, they were drawing numbers, and then they were signing papers, and I'm like, did someone just sign an entry-level contract that I don't know about? I had no idea what was going on. They had that, like, explainer video at the beginning, which, like, did a decent job of explaining it, but then when you actually watched it, you were like, what is going on?
You don't know what's going on.
I will say, I don't think it was rigged, because if it was rigged, I think a team not named the Islanders would have got it. Like, the Islanders is like the least unsexy pick that could have went first overall.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think it's rigged. I think the people who were talking about it were a little like, guys, come on. If like Pittsburgh or Boston got it, okay, yeah, you could argue a little bit there. But Islanders, I don't think so, guys.
Pittsburgh will get it next year.
You think so?
Yeah.
I hope not. Jeez, they better actually like be good. Everyone that watches my stuff knows that I dislike Kyle Dubas for multiple reasons that I've gone into. But I gave him credit at the end of his Leafs tenure, and then he did that little like whatever he did with Shanny there, and it wasn't great, and then he got booted. But Sidney Crosby, to sit there and watch all of that wasted potential, and like maybe they'll do well with whatever they seem to figure out. They got rid of a really good coach too, which is just like probably not a good idea. But if they end up in that position where you're wasting time with Crosby, and then they get that really high quality draft pick player, whoever that might be for them, Crosby's going to have to play another 3 years on top of that to really see the full potential of said player.
But it's like Mario Lemieux. He stayed around for Crosby to start his career. Crosby does the same thing. We get Gavin McKenna. Bam. Pittsburgh's already, moving forward.
It just seems unfair to me that they're like, did this, hey, we're not rebuilding. We're going to do a quick retool. Hey, just kidding. 8 months later. No, we're going to have to do a rebuild. Like, you can't just, like, pivot that fast. It makes all the moves you just made, like, not the right thing to be doing. Like, I don't have respect for the guy. But what I do have respect for is the Utah Hockey Club, because they're going to be able to do some stuff. Now, the Mammoth, I wish it was the Yeti, but it's not.
Yes.
But Utah jumping in the draft lottery, that was insane. That's when I went like, what? Like, you had two, like, basically, I think it was like 3%ers, their chances of going, and they both nail it. Like, holy fuck.
That was crazy. I was shocked to see them both jump, because I was watching your live stream, and then I was just like, the Islanders, like, oh, Utah? Like, really? Like, these are teams that, like, missed the playoffs by not that much. Like, they weren't even, like, at the bottom. And now they're getting top 3 picks. I mean, Nashville kind of got screwed a little bit. Chicago's they're okay, but I don't know. I'm just so intrigued about how it went, and I want to ask you about Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he wants to go anywhere else?
No, I think he should have. I think in my opinion, and I said this before, he should have said like, "Hey, I'm out. I'm not doing this." Like once they did the move, retool to then rebuild, I think it was stupid. He had other opportunities where he could go and play playoff hockey, and it seems like a shame. Now he is at the World Championships with Fleury, and the boys are going to be doing their thing and going out and having fun while they're playing some hockey in the afternoons. Playing the hockey in the afternoons being the least important of the things that they're going to be doing when they're out there. But yeah, it hurts my heart to see it happen.
Yeah.
But he's such a guy, and he's also been so private with his private life that I think he's just got that like comfortable spot where it doesn't make sense to have the stress of everything. And maybe he believes in what Dubas is doing and thinks that, 2 years from now that they can be in a spot and then it's okay. And he's mentoring guys. Like you saw him, like they'd been eliminated and he was skating with guys again.
Yeah.
So like great guy, probably the best Pittsburgh Penguin lifer you'll really ever see next to Lemieux, who literally had to like take ownership of the team.
Yeah, Yager.
Yager played for like 14 teams.
But that kind of, and Terry, this kind of brings me to my next point. Like as we're talking about Crosby, so like Crosby's what, 38 right now?
Something like that.
So basically
19 or 20 years in league.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you look at what Yager's done and, Lemieux, granted his injuries and illness and stuff like that, do you think Crosby can go well above his 40s? And
I wouldn't say above 40s, but I could see him playing another 2-3 years. What did he put up this year? Almost 100 points?
Yeah, he's a point of player a game.
Yeah.
So he's not slowing down, but his team, there's nobody there for him. They need to get rid of Letang, get rid of Malkin, and do something for Crosby now.
Yeah,
or ship Crosby to Colorado so he plays with McKinnon. And
yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna say I agree with Babs. Like I don't think Crosby's going anywhere. I think he's that type of player. He wants to finish his career there.
Yeah, one like just like Mr. Hockey, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The two if I say there's a 1% chance he goes, but if that 1% happens, the two teams I could see, Colorado. And me being biased, I could see him pulling a Johnny T and going home.
Because he does
playing in Montreal.
Because he does want to. He always said he wanted to play in Montreal.
And I mean, you got all those young guys who just had they went out round one, but that's a great amount of experience for them. You have Demidov coming in next year, Reinbacher. I mean, we need a center behind Suzuki or even in front of Suzuki. Bought Suzuki down. I mean, what better fit than Sidney Crosby, man? That's a pipe dream. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen. If it did happen, I think that'd be like the perfect thing for them. And Crosby's the guy that can go in there and really teach the young guys. Like, and they have a young team. And he's also worked with a lot of Russian players. Like he's had the experience of dealing with these Russian players. Demidov's a guy. Bertier on his ELC for kind of nothing, but like at least he got his little like taste, and they've got him here now. So like they don't have to worry about him being stuck in the VHL. Yeah, I agree with you. I think your bigger problem is you need another right-handed defenseman. Like. You have a hole there now.
Yeah, well, Savard's gone. They need, and like everyone's saying, Reinbacher and Mayu is going to step up. They need that like two-way like they need that presence. They don't need young guys coming up and stuff. Like Hudson's great. Like Matheson, I want him off the team. Like it's going to be a lot of young guys, but they need that like veteran guy. Like I'd like someone better than Savard, but that Savard as veteran.
Yeah. You want like a Tanev, McCabe. You don't want to steady stay at home.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of on his last legs a little bit, but like something like that. I mean, yeah, I think a right-handed defenseman and a number 2 center are the two biggest things the Habs need. I mean, this was free hockey for me when the season started. If you told me, Rahil, it's going to be April, like late April, and you're going to be stressing about the Habs, I'm going to be, nah, like you're joking. Like there's no way. I didn't expect us to make it. I was just happy to watch some extra hockey and. Now I get to watch the rest of it stress-free.
So this is probably a good point right now. Like, as we're just talking about, Montreal and kind of getting to April, what do you guys think was like the biggest surprise so far, like round one of the playoffs? So everybody here. So maybe start with you, Babs.
Leafs and the way that they've played and the way they came up and showed up against Florida, I think was surprising because I didn't feel confident at points, and then they completely like proved what I expected to happen wrong. that comes from good coaching, good veteran players like Pacioretty in the mix now, and guys like Tanev, and some of their other guys doing stuff that they don't normally do, like throwing down themselves to block a shot or throwing hits. I think that's the way the Leafs have handled themselves was a surprise to me.
That's fair.
Terry?
Yeah, honestly, the Leafs have been very surprising, but Connor Hellebuck has been abysmal for the Jets after another. This is probably a Vezina season, but like another unreal season from him to not be able to perform in the playoffs it's so frustrating to watch and be like, these are saves you need to make.
But is that surprising to you? Because last year he did the same thing. He had a Vezina caliber, regular season, shit the bed in the playoffs again. So, like, is that surprising? Like, would you say that's, like, one of the most surprising things?
You'd think that's something a player is going to be able to tackle in their off season and, like, exercise those demons, but he's not been able to. But in playoffs, it doesn't matter about your save percentage, it matters about the wins. So, as we're seeing in Edmonton right now, they can't buy a save, but they can score 7 goals a game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's tough, but the wins are all that matters at the end of the day, but you want to see your goalie doing something for you.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Real?
I'll build off that, but in a different way. I think the surprising thing was how bad Hellebuck played, but they still won. I think going into that series, like, they had the President's Trophy curse, too. I mean, that's a curse for a reason. Like, it happens so many times, they get knocked out or they just blow it, and, like, literally Hellebuck was a roller coaster. Like, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. It was just up and down, up and down. And I think the surprising thing was he was the second best goalie, I'd argue, throughout the entire series. Binnington was amazing. But the fact that the Jets were able to overcome that and pull it off, I mean, I don't think they're going to get past Dallas, but just the fact that, like, you have this goalie who gives you the hiccups, like Terry said, like, you kind of hope he gets over it, but, like, we all expected he wouldn't. He didn't, and they still won. I think that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, because it was Game 7, right, Babs? And they were down 3-1 with a minute 15 left?
No, it might have been a little bit more than a minute 15, but maybe like a minute 50, but around that range. I just turned it on. Goal happens. And then with less than, I think around the 12-second mark, Ehlers goes to take a slap shot and absolutely muffs it so bad. And that's a situation, as a coach, you're watching that happen. And it's over. You're like, God, that's it. Then somehow he gets the puck back and makes the perfect cross ice pass and redeems himself. But before that, around like the 38-second mark, he bobbled an easy one on the blue, and that he was going to be enemy number 1 in Winnipeg, and then somehow redeemed himself. And I've never seen something go from 0 to 100 that fast. It was unbelievable to see, because he wouldn't have been able to sleep for days after what he had done. Right. And then boom, goal.
And now the St. Louis Blues can't sleep after that because you're literally like you're 1.8 seconds away.
Yeah.
Like I think it was Buchnevich who had a chance to like just skate it out.
Yeah,
and he
just
didn't.
get it out.
Mm-hmm. And then all that chaos happened, and he's probably like the first couple nights he's probably just like, I should have just literally skated forward.
St. Louis started standing still. That's why that goal happened. They had players who weren't moving their feet.
Yeah.
And that's one of the, as coaches see that stuff, you know that's when something bad's going to happen. And it happens on the penalty kill all the time. If they break the box or the penalty killers aren't moving, something goes across the ice and it's done. You can't cover because you have to lunge instead of being able to skate and lunge.
See, and I think that's like, for Leaf fans like you and I, right? Like when I saw what happened in the dismantling of St. Louis in the last minute of that game, Game 7, that brings me back to Toronto, right? It's just like the whole dismantling, being up or down, 2 or 3 goals, with the team. And yeah, it's just brought back a lot of bad memories.
Yeah, well, because Boston had us. There's other times, even during the regular season, where Toronto in years previous under Keefe would just kind of freeze up, and you get that moment where you're like, all you had to do was like some of the basic stuff, like Nylander wouldn't go into the corner sometimes. He'd let the other guy go first, and then he would try and scoop it. That's stuff that you don't see that out in Toronto anymore. And I think that's why we see less of the we blow a lead or we're down by 3.
Yeah, terrible in the half boards.
Yes.
Just terrible in the half boards.
Yeah, so
right? No grit.
Less of that results in less of our heartbreak as a result of things happening that shouldn't happen. So grit kind of solves a lot of problems.
It was 3-1. I actually want to ask you about a 3-1 comment. I want to ask the Leafs fans here. I don't think you guys are like the perennial chokers anymore. Like, I mean, you guys in the last 4 years have made it past the first round both times. I'm starting to think, like, there's other teams that are going to start creeping in there, like St. Louis, like that. Like, I know that happened once, but, like, that was an epic choke. But, like, I think there's other teams that make it, like the Minnesota Wild. It's one and done,
Yeah.
one and done, one and done, one and done.
Well, they were saying Colorado is 0 for 8 in Game 7s. Their last games, their last 8 Game 7s, they're 0 and 8.
Yeah,
so-
I think our coach is like 0 and 8. McKinnon's like 0 and 5 now, or 0 and 4 now. It's not a good look.
Yeah, that's why. Like, I didn't even know that was a stat till it just came up.
Yeah.
And he's a winning coach. That guy won in the ECHL, AHL, and NHL. He probably will go down as one of the only guys to ever do that. It's insanely impressive. So he's been able to win consistently. That, like, and it's a combination of things too, because you don't necessarily know if the way the locker room's interacting, like some guys aren't the pressure guys, and you maybe don't outwardly see it in their play, but like those negative vibes are just the way the guys act with each other in the locker room under those pressure situations can be the reason for why other things happen.
Yeah.
This week, the worst locker room guy I have ever seen in George Pickens is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. And the fact that teams traded for him, or wanted to trade for him in the first place, insane.
I'm so pissed.
So, like, see?
He was telling Nick was telling about it. We were like coming back to the studio, and he was like, "I can't believe that this trade just happened."
I'm a Steelers fan, and I hate the fucking Cowboys.
And he's a good wide receiver, but he's the guy that if something happens and he doesn't get the ball and it's not the quarterback's fault, he's still doing
Yeah.
and that's a deflating thing for a team. It breaks them down. And if you're doing that 4 or 5 times a game or you're wilding out on the sideline, it takes away and distracts everybody. The Dallas Cowboys we're talking about chokers.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys, the players should all just be wearing them when they play.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. They should be dressing like emo girls. That's how much they're choking. The problem with this and him coming in there is if it blows back in their face, it makes them look even stupider because they brought that guy in. And they already have really good wide receivers.
Yeah.
I didn't get the trade. Like you said, they already have pretty good wide receivers, and it's just like that team is so fragile. Like they make the playoffs, and like they could be up like 30-0, and everyone's like they're gonna lose this game.
But it's been fragile since like 95.
But that's the point. It's like it's been fragile for so long, and you're like, let's just add this uncontrollable radioactive. This bomb might blow up in our face wide receiver because what's he second string or third string wide receiver for the Cowboys? I don't know where he's going to be in the depth chart, but like you said, they have good wide receivers.
I don't know where they're going to where on the field they're actually going to put him. Like it's Jerry Jones does stuff. Good for you. You're incredibly rich and you own a team. On Pittsburgh's side of things, I feel like they might have been better keeping him.
Yeah.
And they don't have a quarterback right now.
Yeah.
So like, if you're going to have to run with like potentially a quarterback who isn't nearly necessarily as good, you got, Metcalf's in there now and you have some other decent pieces, but you just got rid of a piece. You might have been able to actually kind of get away with it a little bit more, not having that quarterback or having Aaron Rodgers.
Oh man.
But now it's like, I'm not exactly sure as to what the plan is. Now, DK can have a little bit of problems too on the sideline, or if he's playing the 49ers, they just know how to get him to freak out and take penalties. So maybe that would have been a horrible mixture, or they would have canceled each other out.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I just find it so interesting. Teams just, I guess they don't care about locker room, like they don't care if it's toxic or not, as long as the player's good enough. Like, I don't know. I would think it'd be the other way around. I think you'd want to have that balance and stuff. Maybe it's more of a hockey thing, and maybe in football it's just like, I don't care, just get me results.
Because, Dallas has been dealing with that forever, right? So from like Michael Irvin, Terrell Owens, right? The list goes on, Leon Lett, the list goes on and on since, even from the beginning of the 90s. But so, and they've never really had an opportunity of like really managing the expectations and the personalities in the locker room. Yeah. So like, I don't know if they've just always been set up that way since they have been successful and they've just never changed that. So it's almost like they've gotten comfortable being uncomfortable, right, in the locker room and on the sidelines. So it's a unique situation because, like, when I think about like the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, like that's a coach. Like once again, he like demands respect, commands respect, right? He communicates extremely well. And like, yeah, you'll have like your, the one player, a second player might go off and here and there, and you have to manage those things. That's going to happen when you have, 25 plus guys in a locker room, right? But like, I always feel like when you have the right type of leadership from the beginning, and I think really more so even in football, from ownership all the way down, like you really need to have that right leadership. And I feel like you kind of get that in Pittsburgh, whereas in Dallas, like we've been talking about, I just don't see that.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's their head coach? I don't know his name.
Yeah, no, because they just got rid of Nick
Big Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, thank you.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know who they've replaced him with.
I don't know either. So we'll see if maybe that guy's good and can command respect, and they felt that they can reel him in. But I mean, they're a fan base that's a little rabid too. But they're playing in a division where you've got a team like the Cowboys, and like they're going to, or not, they got a team like the Eagles. The Cowboys have to play against. You can tell it's been a long day. And you're sitting there and you're like watching. They have a fan base with how many people are in the stadium that if it's not going well, like, you're going to know it's not going well. If you're trying to not pay attention to what's going on, no, there's like 100,000 people in there making sure you know it's bad. I just don't think the Cowboys are in a great position. Eagles, though, geez. I don't like Philadelphia. I don't like their fans. I don't like the way they act. But I have so much respect for that football team. But this brings me into something I was thinking this week. At a game, and you see Philly fans do this, unfortunately. Say you're an away fan going to a game, and you bring your kid with you. I think it's unacceptable for you to yell at the dad, and if they're the away fans, say they're wearing Bengals jerseys and you're in Philadelphia. I think you have to leave the Bengals dad alone if he's with his kid. But if it's a bunch of dudes in Bengals jerseys,
Yes.
you can say whatever you want to them. But if there's a kid sitting with the dad and they're cheering, you just have to kind of leave that one alone and don't throw like batteries at them or something.
Batteries.
They threw batteries at Santa.
I agree. I think if you see a kid, everything is off limits.
Yeah.
I don't care whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey. I don't care if you see a kid and you see a parent with them or you see a family, off limits. Like just they're there, they're having a good time, it's family time. Maybe it's the kid's first game. You don't want him to be like, oh, it's my first game, and they get a Duracell battery in the face or something. I'm like, no. If it's a group of if the four of us are all fans of one team, I expect to get heckled.
Yeah.
Like, roast me, come at me, like, do whatever you want to do. Like, I don't care. I don't know about you guys. That's how I feel.
So Terry, is it like, would you consider it like fair game if the kid also, like, if the kid's ribbing and let's say he's like 12, 13, 14, 15, is the kid fair game if he's ribbing and like going at everybody out and taunting people as well?
100%. The kid's fair game. If he's instigating it,
Right.
game on. But there's no like going out of your way to like get in a kid's face and make him have a shitty experience. But if he's trying to ruin your experience, dump popcorn on him, do something, get him back. I'm all for it.
Rahil and I had a good time when we were in Buffalo, and they actually treated us with respect. We went to the snow game, whereas the 49ers had to dig our seats out because they didn't shovel the stadium out. So we dug our seats out, and we met some people that were sort of nice. And they were like, what's your team? And I go, like, look, like, I'm a 49ers guy, but when the Bills are playing against anybody but the 49ers, I'm always rooting for the Bills because we're Canadian, and, like, that's the thing. And, like, I like Josh Allen, and you guys are a good fan base. And they go, yeah, you know what, that's fair. In other cities like Philadelphia, or when you used to have the Oakland Raiders, there's a few other ones, probably some teams in Ohio that aren't necessarily, the Browns fans probably, because they're just sad and upset. That wouldn't happen in other places. They'd be like, whatever, a bunch of slurs.
Yeah. I will say the best part of that Buffalo Bills game was, one, everyone eating dirt. Because I kid you not, so no one shoveled the upper level, so everyone digs out. The stairs were just a slide. Mm-hmm. And then, like, any stairs were slides, so people were falling and everything. And then I have a video of just Babs on his butt, just sliding down the middle stairs, and all the Bills fans around him are just absolutely losing it. Top 5 best sports experiences.
They're all going, the one guy goes, that is so smart, because they've just seen everybody falling, and I just slide down the steps. It was somehow safer for me to go down like 30 rows, and there was so much snow and it had been packed down so much that it was slippery. I just went my way down. And Rahil, unfortunately, he would fall at that point too. So I was trying to be like extra mindful of it because I didn't want to end up with like a concussion. But
yeah, and as a fat bastard, I would want to actually use the slide going down instead of the stairs. Exactly. I would definitely want to slide down to my ass. That'd be way more fun anyway.
Yeah, and
less exercise.
The one thing I will end off on that is that was the night Babs and I both got on ESPN TikTok.
Not a big deal. It's a million views.
They reached out to me. They're like, can we use your TikTok? I'm freaking out. I do it. And then 10 minutes later, Babs, like, they asked me to do the same thing. And I'm just like, dude, like, perfect snow game.
Damn.
You get paid?
No.
Oh.
Just got, I think they tagged us.
Yeah,
and
exposure. That's almost payment.
Yeah, on that one, I'm like, it's a video of me kicking snow. This isn't really worth anything. Go ahead. One of those companies did try and buy it from me after, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, you know what? No, like, you're going to, like, try and sell it, and then I'm going to get, like, 12% of the thing. Then, like, I'm like, whatever. I already had my fun with it.
Damn. Should have sold that.
It's time to introduce the Sofa Kings Parlay Challenge, a game show style challenge where we're not just betting against the platform, but against each other. We'll be tracking everyone's betting stats across the coming weeks to see who is the true Sofa King. If you have any ideas on what the winner receives or what the loser's punishment should be, let us know in the comments. Now, I'll stop yapping and get into the rules. Every week, we will draw one parlay card which will describe the rule set we all have to follow when making our parlays. Once the parlay card's drawn, we will each take turns going into the eavesdrop room where each of us draws a private challenge card that decides how we have to build our individual parlays. There are a few different types of challenge cards. For example, you could get something easy like picking whatever teams you want, allowing you to bet safely. Or you could get a card that fucks you over by making you coin flip your entire parlay. But best of all, there are advantage cards shuffled into the deck that allow you to fuck over other hosts. Once we build our parlay solo and in secret, we will then come back to the sofas and reveal them, where we'll either roast each other into the ground or praise each other for our godlike picks. You guys get all that? Same parlay format, different challenges, zero chance we will agree on anything. Let's see what our first parlay card is.
Let's see what the damage is.
Only underdogs. Make a $10 bet on a 6-team parlay picking only underdogs. I don't know how we feel about that, guys. That's a pretty interesting first one.
You got?
All right.
Just gonna go first and get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, Babs. I might need a beer for this.
Go for
Terry,
it.
beer me up.
All right. Well, we got to see what my card's going to be. If I get lucky, bet must include one of every major sport. Well, it's a 6-legger, so I definitely should be able to do this. So I'm having to make a parlay with just underdogs. I'm going to have to maybe look at the NBA. I'm not a big NBA guy, but I want to go there first because sometimes you have really, really big underdogs. But this late, maybe I can take somebody like the Knicks, who they have a chance against Boston, I've been told. So we'll take the Knicks here at plus 188 on the money line. I feel like having that NBA in there off the rip, that's one of my least knowledgeable sports. Getting that out of the way is probably the best thing to do. Then MLB. I mean, if the Dodgers were here, but they got kind of shelled last night. We were watching it in the car on the way home. The Dodgers are dogs. I'll take that. Dodgers didn't look great, but they have so many good pieces. I'm just going to take advantage of that. At plus 100, this seems like a layup. I hope none of them find out about that. That's a great underdog to take. A plus 100, super safe. NBA I was nervous about, but like I said, there was some that still have a little bit of life. We got our NBA done. In the NHL, I mean, could I take the Leafs live right now? I don't know. I'm a little nervous. That game's kind of giving me some anxiety. But the Dallas Stars plus 144, another underdog that's live. Hellebuck has a bad game, plus 114. That seems good. Okay, so we're getting there through the major sports. We're getting the things I have to get done. We've got no NFL right now, so we'll sub that in for something else. I wonder if the WNBA's got games right now. The WNBA has some Saturday games. The Indiana Fever, though, they're not probably going to lose. I don't know anything else outside of that. The Valkyrie, new team in the league, they're probably going to get pumped. What are we going to put in as the other option here? We got some golf. Golf is going to take too long. Soccer. Soccer's the other major. What am I talking about? Soccer. Soccer's the other major sport right now. Fulham, no. Definitely looking in the Prem. Man United's had such a bad year. We're going to throw a juicy one. Plus 300 for West Ham over Man United. Okay, we're getting there. I've got 4 legs here. This parlay is already paying an insane amount. So I have to get 2 more legs for this parlay. I'll go back to the NHL because I can fit stuff in here maybe. The Caps plus 158. Again, we're having to do things a certain way. Do I like that or not? It's a parlay. We're having fun. Vegas Golden Knights plus 104. Okay, we have 6 legs. I'm going to read this parlay out to you guys real quick. The number on this is insane. It is plus 25,850 on my 6-legger. Knicks money line, Dodgers money line, Dallas Stars money line. I actually like that, by the way. West Ham money line on the three-way there, so a draw could really hurt. Washington Capitals money line. I mean, I bet the Caps to win the series. I really hope they do. And then the Vegas Golden Knights plus 104. The Dodgers line in there is the most helpful with the baseball thing. Hey, we got to go in here. I'm going to make my bet. Let's see if this ends up being what we need it to be.
Now, challenge card I get. One bet must be determined by the flip of a coin. Oh, I got a toonie here. That's good. All right. First thing I'm doing is I'm going to find UFC because that is something I do know. All right. First thing, I'm going right off the hop. Jose Aldo failed to make weight. They had to change the weight class. I'm taking Ayman Zahabi, brother of Firas Zahabi. How do you not take that? Let's see what else we got here. Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going to take another one there. And I think that's good for UFC. So I've got 4 more I got to pick. Where's hockey? Let's get into the NHL now. I've got to determine a bet by flip. So what I think I'm going to do is take tomorrow's games. I've got Washington and Carolina and Vegas and Edmonton. I flip a coin. Now whatever I get, I take the underdog. So heads, we go with Vegas, Carolina. Tails, Edmonton, Vegas. Let's see what we get. We're going to cut that. Let's see what we get. Heads. All right. So we're going to take the underdog, and that is Washington. I don't hate that, actually. Washington needs to win this. And we've got Dallas and Winnipeg tomorrow. Dallas, underdog. I think that's an easy take. Dallas has been hot. And I don't trust Vegas at home. I'm going to skip that one. Let's go check out some NBA. Now, the Warriors are without Steph Curry. I don't like that, but I might take it. They're going back home. I don't hate that. And Denver just got worked in their last game. It was over 40 points they were beat by. I think they're going to have a rebound. They're back at home. I'm going to take Denver as my 6th pick. Denver, Warriors. I've got a couple fights on there. This is looking like a good card. I've got promise on this. All right, place $10 bet to win $2,403.27. That's big money. Let's go.
All right, let's do this. 16 parlay, all underdogs, $10 bet. Let's see what the wild card has for me. Must include at least one women's sports team or player. I do love some PWHL, so that's going to be a good one there. We're going to be excited for that one. Let's get into it. So first, right off the bat, the one I know I want to do, because I was talking about Mikko Rantanen, and I think the Jets aren't going to do it. We're going Dallas. They're underdogs away. I know Winnipeg played good game 1, but I like those odds there, so we're taking Dallas for the first one. And then the second one, I'm going to go a little cheeky here. As a Montreal Canadiens fan, the whole Carolina Hurricanes, Jesperi Kotkaniemi thing, I'm not over it. I'm still not over it. I know I'm wearing a Vegas hat, but I'm still not over it. I know Carolina is super good at home. They're amazing. They're like one of the best home teams this year. I'm going to take the Caps money line. I know they beat my Habs. I just think Ovi and the Caps, and Wilson had a great game too. I think he's going to bounce back. But aside from that, honestly, I don't like Vegas over Edmonton, so I think we're going to go away from hockey. That's 2 hockey. Let's get our women's one out of the way first. I think that's going to be a big one to do here. So I'm not going to do a player bet. I'm going to do a team bet. So we are going to go with, what do we want to do? Or do I want to go soccer? Ooh, I would not mind some soccer, actually. Let's see. Or do I want to go MMA? There's so many women's sports that I can't even decide. I kind of want to go basketball, honestly, now that I think about it. all right, you know what? I've made my women's pick. I'm going to go, and I haven't paid too much attention to anyone but the Scepters. I'm going to go with the Ottawa Charge over the Montreal Victoire. That's a Sunday game, but I got some good feelings about that one, so we're going to get that one out of the way. What other three do I want to do today? Let's see. Let's go into some MLB. I love me some Blue Jays, especially when my man Kevin Gossman's pitching, and I'm 20 minutes away from locking this one in, so we're going to lock that in. Gossman's my boy. I know Castillo's pitching for the Mariners. I'm taking Gossman and the Jays, so that's 4. We need 2 more underdogs. I'm going to go... You know what? I got to go with like an easy one that's actually good odds, but like has a good chance of winning. I'm going to go with the Washington Nationals beating the St. Louis Cardinals at home. They're plus 100. We're going to take that. And then for our last one, we are going to go over to Europe and we're going to do some soccer. Now, this is going to be a stressful one because instantly I see Man City's a minus 650 favorite and I want to go Southampton. I just know that's not going to happen. But for me, looking at all of these, honestly, the most evenly matched game, I think, on Saturday is going to be Bournemouth and Aston Villa. And I love Aston Villa in this one, so I'm going to take that one. So to round it off, we're going to have the Stars money line tonight. We're going to have the Caps money line tomorrow. The Ottawa Charge as our one women's pick over the Montreal Victoire. The Blue Jays over the Mariners because Gossman's my boy. He's going to throw gas tonight. The Nationals over the St. Louis Cardinals. And then finally, I'm going to go with Aston Villa. We're doing a $10 bet. That's going to be a big one if that hits. Let's lock it in.
All right, here we go. All right. So, got the beer in the hand, got the FanDuel app up. And so we picked the parlay card, which is the six leg underdogs that we have to choose for the parlay. And I'll choose my challenge card right now. Oh, not good. Only bet on teams with a losing record. So not faring well already, knowing that I have to pick all underdogs as well. So I have to pick losers and underdogs right now for my bet. So we're already logged into the app for FanDuel. And yeah. All right, so let's take a look here. So we're going to start with NBA. So I can take the Nuggets, but they have a winning record, so I can't select them. And I can't select anybody in baseball. So, okay, so they all have winning records. Now, I don't know if it would be considered if they have losing records currently in their series in the playoffs. So that might be a little way to kind of get around this against the other Sophia Kings. So let's check TSN and see what their records are right now in the series and playoffs, if they're down or losing. So if we're going by that principle, then I could take the Cavaliers, but they've already started their game tonight. The series is tied 1-1. So I guess I can't kind of pick that if it's the Thunder and the Nuggets. So looking ahead to Saturday's games, Capitals and Hurricanes, I probably couldn't do then, but I could take the Golden Knights. And I could take the Celtics if they're an underdog in that game. And then I'd have to stay away from the Warriors and the Timberwolves. So this might be probably more baseball-related bets on this card because of my challenge card. All right, so let's go back to the app here. So with that in mind... so the Celtics are down in the series, but they are favored to win, so I can't select them. Let's see here. Golden State, so I can't take any NBA. So now Dallas is up in the series. Dallas is up in the series, so I can't take them. Now Washington is tied. Let's take a look here. Yeah, Washington's tied 1-1, so I can't take them. But I can take Vegas. Okay, so we're going to take the Golden Knights. All right, so we've got one on the board here. This is definitely going to be more baseball related. So let's take a look at baseball. We're going to come down to the late games. Angels have a losing record. And I could see them beating Baltimore here tonight. Dodgers have a winning record. I can't take the Jays, though. All right. Hopefully Kevin Gausman can come through for me there. Oakland's been such a weird team this year. They've been like hot and cold. The Athletics, but they have a winning record right now, so I can't do them. Nationals do. So I could take the Nationals here. Okay, so let's potentially take the Nationals. And the Pirates have been god-awful. Let's just select them right now so I have a selection. Milwaukee has a tied record. Let's take a look. Okay. And I think Cleveland. Yeah, so I can't choose them. So I've got 5 right now, so I need at least one more. And I think Cincinnati has a losing record by 1. All right, so let's take one more quick peek below to see if there's any other things better. I can't take the Rockies. They've just been trash right now. Oh. And like San Diego's been great. Okay, so let's review this. Okay. So they're all pluses, so they're all underdogs. All losing records. All right. And then my $10 bet. Oh, 10. All right. So yeah, I think this is going to be, so plus, 8,000 and above right now. And it would give me, over $850. So I think I got to roll with this right now. So we're going to lock in this bet. There we go. We are officially locked in. All right, time to go discuss this with the Sofa Kings, and hopefully we're good to go.
All right. We've made our parlays. Mine's a little crazy because of what I had to go through. How are you guys feeling about yours?
I feel like I want to throw up right now.
Oh, my God.
I'm confident, actually. I've got a couple picks that I think are locks.
I'm good with 5, and then the 6 was the one where I was like, I don't know. So I'm sure we'll talk about them.
Mine, we all had the same card to start. My second card I pulled there, I had to pick something from the major sports, but the NFL is not here right now, so I subbed the NFL for soccer.
Right, okay.
And I took West Ham as an underdog because Man United's had such a bad year, and they are plus 300. So I made a lotto, sort of because I had to, and I just started having like too much fun as I was building it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I have, though, for the rest of it. So West Ham plus 300. Yeah, okay, say what you want about that. Vegas plus 104. What a great underdog to have in there.
Yeah.
That's just barely an underdog, still viable. Washington Capitals plus 158. I like the Caps to win the series, and I had actually bet that. And looking at it, I just feel like that's an okay underdog, even though it's plus 158. And I don't usually bet those unless it's like a first goal scorer, which I happen to be good at. Not a big deal. Won 4 of them this year. New York Knicks plus 188. NBA, I don't know anything, but I do know that the Knicks have done stuff that made people upset, so maybe they'll continue to do it, and maybe that'll be in my favor or not. The LA Dodgers plus 100. I had to make a baseball play, and that is a fantastic underdog to throw in there.
That's good.
And then Dallas Stars plus 116. The Dallas Stars are them. They're just kind of them right now, and I'm going to hope they can continue to play the way they did in the last round, So
what do you feel like? Do you feel like your probability is like higher right now? Do you feel pretty confident about your pick?
No, because I have West Ham at plus 300.
Yeah.
And that's a 3-way line, by the way. So if they draw, I don't like it.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. But I do enjoy a nice lotto once in a while. So
Yeah.
I haven't done that in a bit.
All right.
There it is.
Terry, so what challenge card did you have to pick up, Terry, when you sat down in the news drop room?
I had to flip a coin for one of my picks. So what I ended up doing was taking 2 hockey games and flipping between the 2 of them, and whatever game I took the underdog of that. So with that, I ended up taking Dallas as well and Washington, both to win, both pretty good odds, 158 for Washington, 116 on Dallas. Dallas has been hot. I don't know how they're the underdog.
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. I took a couple basketball games. Denver just got spanked, but they're going back home with something to prove. So hopefully I can take something there. And then I took the Golden State Warriors at 184. This is kind of my Hail Mary. Steph Curry's out right now with a groin injury. Hopefully Golden State takes one for me. And I grabbed 2 UFC cards. I've got the champion Valentina defending her belt, which...
And she was an underdog?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? That's what I thought. And then I took Amin Zahabi, which is an interesting one because Jose Aldo didn't make weight, so they had to raise it from a bantamweight to a featherweight card.
Okay.
So both of the guys weighed in 142, 143, but Jose Aldo looked awful on the scale. I'm betting against that, taking Amin Zahabi. So right now I've got a payout of 2,500.
And what was your total odds? Plus what?
Plus 25,000.
Jeez.
Yep.
That was what were yours? Like plus like.
Oh, let's look here. Plus 26,000.
Okay, so that was in the lead
And
right
then
now.
9, a little, a few digits after that, but it's a big one.
Big ones are good though sometimes.
Yeah, maybe I'll hit one. It'll be the first ever.
I will say this: mine is 10,000 less than theirs.
Oh,
I will say that.
Wow.
So my
So
here's the thing.
what was your challenge card
My
then?
challenge card, and this is where I think I like 5 of them. The challenge card got me. I had to pick either a women's player or a women's team to bet
right,
on.
yeah.
And WNBA is over, I'm pretty sure, because they're betting on all the award stuff now. There was nothing to bet on. There was tennis and all this other stuff, and I was like, PWHL, hockey, perfect. It was literally the Montreal Victoire and the Ottawa Charge. That was the other game was on right now. So I was like, I got to pick Ottawa here. That's hockey is the only thing I'm kind of comfortable with. Plus 128, so decent odds there. So I like that. I think there's going to be a theme here. I also went Dallas. I also went Washington. But I went Washington because I'm still bitter about the Jesperi Kotkaniemi thing and Carolina trolling us. I hope Washington 7-0s them in that game. Aside from that, I'm comfortable with my other 3. I got the Washington Nationals over the Cardinals at plus 100, which is pretty decent too when you're looking at you got 150, 180, and then plus 100 is a nice even, that's a pretty good game.
Yep.
I picked Aston Villa over Bournemouth because that was one of the more evenly matched soccer games that was going to be there. So I kind of like Aston Villa there. And then my final one, I'm believing in my boy Kevin Gossman. I picked the Jays over the Mariners. I know Castillo's pitching tonight, but I don't know what it is. I've had bad luck at Jays games sometimes.
Right.
But Gossman always throws gas. If I'm watching him pitch, I was there at that game they blew to Seattle and they took him out early, but he was pitching a gem. I think I was there for his first start as a Blue Jay and he was a gem as well. So I'm going with Gossman there. Plus 15,833 odds. So I'm winning just under $1,600 there. So a little more conservative than the other 2, but still pretty good. I like my chances.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think I got screwed more than anybody else on these couches. All right. So get this. So when I sat down and I pulled the challenge card, thank God I had a beer ready there. Thankfully for that. So my challenge card was that I had to pick all of the all losing teams. So the records had to be losing. So that automatically took me out of NHL because every team that made the playoffs is at a winning record. So I thought that there might be a little bit of a loophole here. And I was like, all right, well, if they're in the playoffs right now, so are they losing in the playoffs in their series? So it's all right, maybe I can get away with this on the Kings. A little bit of a loophole to help me out on this situation. So I was like, you know what? It's better to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission. So, all right. So we started off. So I knew I was screwed for pretty much NBA and the NHL. So looking at my first one. So I have the Angels against the Orioles tonight. So both losing records. So I have the Angels here tonight. And then also just like you, Rahil, with the Toronto Blue Jays, also love Kevin Gossman. And the times that I have bet on him here with FanDuel over the last couple of weeks, he has come through for me. So I went with the Jays over the Mariners again tonight. And then moving forward to tomorrow's games, sticking here with 3 more in the MLB, I've got the Washington Nationals over the Cards. So it was only plus 100, so they're pretty dead eat heaving. So I took that, and then this is the one that I'm probably the least comfortable in. So I've got the Pittsburgh Pirates over the Atlanta Braves, and they're plus 118. Now, here's the one that I think I got really fortunate with the MLB because I have been following the Cincinnati Reds, and they've been hot and cold over the last couple of weeks. And when Cincinnati has been performing well, like they're cashing a lot of runs. So, and the good thing about it is Cincinnati just came to a losing record. So they're like 18-19 now. So I just eked that one out. So I took the Reds over the Astros. I think that's going to be a nail biter, but I think the Reds can pull that out. And then tomorrow, because the Knights are down in the series and they are the underdog, I have the Vegas Golden Knights over the Edmonton Oilers. This gives me, let's see here. This gives me plus 8,835 odds with a payout of $893.58.
So the interesting thing about that is he had to pick losing records, but he's actually more likely to win his bet than the three of us.
Yeah, I feel like we took like some reasonable underdogs, like the Capitals.
Yeah.
And like some of those games are a little bit tighter. I'm in the position I am because I took West Ham at plus 300. That like, yeah, we're building a parlay. I'm trying to find an underdog. I'm looking through, and it just felt like the narrative there was right. That's probably, they'll all probably hit except for that one.
Right.
It'll be the one where I just make that like, let's spice it even more. That'll probably be the one that burns me.
Right.
But hey, we'll find out early in the day, and it'll give me lots of time to hop on FanDuel later in the evening and try and make something else and get the money back. But
The thing is, though, is if West Ham wins, you're going to come in next episode and you're going to come in with your swagger. You're going to be like, you're going to have a crown. Like
You're going to put a soccer ball up here and be like, I'm the fucking soccer champ.
I'm supposed to know about soccer given the stuff I do outside of here, but unfortunately, I probably don't know enough to actually really bet the Prem well because it's very hard to beat. And a lot of people actually probably kind of attack more of like the prop market there. But betting sides is always really tough in soccer, especially when it's a three-way money line because you can get burnt so hard on the draw. And I feel like if United blows the game, they'll like blow it in like a 1-1 draw. So.
Right. Yeah. Now, so like, you know, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. Like we all have like certain associations that we follow more, certain teams and players. And you know, everybody here is obviously different. Like we all have commonalities between us. But Terry, you know the UFC fairly well. So like I was pleasantly surprised that you were able to kind of bring that within your card.
Yeah.
So like that's probably, would you say like that's probably one of the main sports that you're most proficient in?
Definitely. Outside of hockey is UFC. I follow every major card, and then like the smaller cards, it's a lot harder to now, but it's definitely the sport that I'm like balls deep into outside of hockey for sure.
Nice. All three of us picked the Stars. If you had the chance, Sherry, would you have Charlie? Would you have gone Stars too? I'm getting you two mixed up.
Right. We look so similar.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm thin now.
Yeah.
So would I have taken the Stars tonight?
I feel like it's hard not to pick it.
Yeah, it's like if you have to do underdog, like yes, I would have.
Yeah.
But I do feel confident that Winnipeg, like I would have taken Winnipeg if I didn't have to do it undercard.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't. Even if I didn't have to take an underdog, I think I'm still taking Dallas. Just the performance we've seen out of Hellebuck is so bad that I don't think anything the Jets can do is going to stop Dallas.
But see, I think the Jets will actually do better because they're not going to be at home, right? So they're going back to Dallas, right?
Wait, is this game two?
This is game two.
Oh, this is game two.
So this is still in the peg.
Charlie's like, never mind. Stars.
Shit, give me till we go back.
I didn't say it was a professional, guys. Yeah. So no, that's that. Yeah. You know, going staying in Winnipeg there. Yeah, it's tough. It's just like you have to think about Rantanen and him. Like that's got to cool off, right? Like it's just he's been so hot for 4 games. Like that's so much pressure to be able to stay at that level that he's been producing. Because his first 2 or 3 games, he was not doing well.
No.
Yeah.
And then his last 4 have just been fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, when's that kind of run out a little bit? And, you know, you just think that the Jets just have that power to be able to come back, you know, down even 1 or 2. Like we've seen it already in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, you know, can they split that series? And, you know, I think I would take probably the Jets.
The only thing is Dallas is so stacked that
Yeah.
even if Rantanen's not performing, everybody on the team scored 20 goals. Their head coach scored 20 goals this year. Like their team doesn't make sense how deep they are.
Yeah.
So that's what, like, it's hard to count them out. So I honestly, like with Colorado out, I'm probably taking Dallas to the finals
Right.
Yeah.
against Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like when Rantanen's out, Robertson could take over, Hintz could take over, like
Yeah.
Right.
anyone could take
Oh
over.
my God, he's been unreal too.
Yeah.
Like that Dallas team is insane. Like
Would you take Dallas?
I'm taking Dallas all day. I've actually been big on them, and I respect the scouting team they have there so much. But we will see what happens. But guys, thanks for watching. We will see you next time on Sofa Kings.